I'm Jeff with Foodbeast, and I'm in New York City. I'm on a mission to highlight innovative chefs from across the country and their unique takes on a classic, the White Castle Original Slider. I'm meeting with Filipino taqueria chef owner Jordan Andino of Second City in the West Village. You may have seen him on one of his 17 different TV show appearances, but the real reason we're here, his food. We're meeting up with him in the city to find out what he has in store for the original White Castle burger, because this is for the love of the slider. We sat down with Jordan at a local White Castle to chat about his main culinary influence and the man who introduced him to the original slider, his dad. Did you eat White Castle with your dad?
I'm pretty sure the first time I had it, we took a road trip to go see one of my dad's best friends, and then he introduced me to it. And he's like, this is what we're gonna do. And we ordered a crave case for the first time. Like, that was what we did. Like, that was like our thing together. And I was like, cool.
And your dad's been a pretty big influence on just like your cooking career in general, right?
Mm-hmm. My dad's a chef, and everything that I kind of like represent on like a foundational level, my dad instilled and developed with me. So like my techniques to like how I run a kitchen to how I'm young, but like my old school style of like telling people what to do and how I'm just very matter of fact, no bullshit. Like that's how I kind of grew up, and that's how I learned, and that's all influenced by my dad.
Jordan, you know why you're here. We want you to do your own take on the White Castle Original Slider. So what are you gonna bring to the table, man?
I want to influence White Castle through Second City. It's gonna be like a combination of like kind of a Mexican, Japanese, and Chinese, and of course Filipino, like base flavor in it.
With our stomachs full, we headed to Central Park to walk it off and learn a bit more about what it takes to be a young chef in the city that never sleeps.
I would say my age definitely affects a lot of things. It's crazy because these people, like, they think that like because of my youth and how young I look that I don't have the experience or the knowledge, but then you gotta just prove it.
When was the moment where you're then like, you know, executive chefing is great, I want skin in the game? When did you make that decision?
I was like 17, 18, and I was like, all right, by 25, I'm gonna own a restaurant. And like I just set that goal for me, and that's when the journey began. And I would say like a year and a half ago, that's when two partners now, they approached me and they were like, do you want to open up a restaurant? I'm like, yeah. That was like that key moment because that's when we started developing it. They had access to the funds and we just did it.
Before we could head to his restaurant, we needed to pick up a few key ingredients. So we headed to Green Market Union Square, one of the largest farmers markets in the city.
All right. We're coming close, I can feel it. Money, scallions. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After grabbing our ingredients, we headed to Second City, Jordan's Filipino taqueria.
This is Second City, welcome. This is really has been my second home and my first restaurant that I've ever owned. You know, I designed it, and then my mom and my uncle designed the entire mural over here. They designed it and executed it. You know, the goal of this place was to put my energy, vivaciousness into the place without me having to be here necessarily all the time. You know, I'm here all the time, but all of these things tried to help, you know, create this image of me personified.
So Filipino-inspired dishes. You have a Filipino family. Have they eaten here?
All these recipes are actually inspired or influenced or even just straight ripped from my grandmother. So I was so nervous for her to try this. And she just came 2 weeks ago and she had it. I gave her all the things that were like the most Filipino and the most influenced by her, and she ate it and she loved it. And I was just like,
you can breathe again, right?
Today I'm gonna show you how to make my Amasian Slider. Super easy, super simple, but it's based on my Second City concept. I'm gonna first take some scallion, chop it up. This will give you a good herbaceous note and make sure it has like a good color and green. Then red onion. Joking. Then we're gonna pickle them. And eventually, once we pickle them in very simple vinegar and sugar, they'll come out looking like this. Pork belly, fry it. 2 to 3 minutes. Then in this case, we're gonna use a quarter of an avocado sauce. Put some miso in there, bam. little bit of calamansi. This will give you like a cool like acid, tang flavor, but also give you a nice sweetness. Then sriracha complements the sweetness, but also gives you a nice little bit of spice. Bam. Whisk that around. And this is gonna be the glaze for when the pork belly comes out of the fryer. Once everything is basically ready, take your White Castle sliders. You wanna toast the buns, make them nice and toasty and warm. And then of course, get your meat hot. While that's toasting, take your sauce and you're gonna toss your pork belly into the sauce. Give a nice little glaze. This orange, tangy, spicy love. This should be fully toasted by now. Now let's start to assemble. Bottom bun first, take your 2 patties. Then what we're gonna do is pork belly. Basically it's bacon. This is braised and fried bacon, but thicker and better. And you want to get a little bit of that sauce right over the meat. After that, you want to take your pickled onions. This right here is really gonna act as like the acid that cuts through all of that fat. Beautiful avocado. Finally, garnish with some scallions, like I told you earlier, for those herbaceous notes. Boom, there you have it, fam. Amasian Sliders, only at Second City. What up, let's go.
Okay.
Here, I'll give you that.
Okay, layer by layer, what do we have got going on?
All right, so look, 2 White Castle slider patties, a braised and then fried pork belly. Then you have pickled red onions, scallions, and avocado. All of which kind of complement each other, or the bacon and the fat, and all the flavors are texturally amazing in your mouth, and it looks good too.
It's stacked, man. I like it. This, man. So normally, I'd ask you a question, I'd respond to it, but I'm just gonna.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps. Look at that. You can't fake that shit.
The vinegar of the onions really cuts like the sweetness of the sauce. Chef, this is amazing, and it's like within the profile of Second City, you know?
Yeah.
Something that I would totally like expect to walk up and order. It just happens to also be, you know, include White Castle sliders.
Yeah, man.
Bon appetit, food beasts. Next up, Louisville with renowned chef Edward Lee.